Are you ready? Stand by.
Welcome to draws. So the first thing we're going to go over is how to draw. There's two mainly different ways to do it. It's the scoop and the snatch. And I'm going to go over how to do both of them. So my preferred way is the snatch. So what you're basically going to do, you're going to put our hands outside. When we come up, we're going to come up the side of the gun, up the side of the holster there. And I like to run my middle finger up the side as kind of my index point in order to get to the exact right spot on my gun. So we're going to run that finger up along the side of the holster. Then we're going to rotate our thumbs over the beaver tail of the gun. We're going to push down to seat our hand into the gun in the holster. Wrap our fingers around. If you have a safety, rest it on the safety, but we're not taking the safety off yet. Then we're going to pull out, clear the holster, and come to center, okay? We're going to come to our hand clap area. From there, our left hand, our support hand, is going to come in, is going to come underneath the trigger guard, almost like a chopping motion. We're going to rotate our support hand into position as we start presenting out. So this is kind of a one motion look right here. Okay, so chop. As you present out, you're going to be looking at the target and presenting your sights into the target. When you're ready, you can start pulling the trigger. Bang, 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 bang. Now, depending on your skill level, you can start prepping the trigger early. So I can start seeing the sights here and I could start shooting right here if I want to, but I like to have my trigger prepped, especially in high level competition. So as soon as those sights are perfect on center, I can just finish that trigger and go bang. So that is the snatch. We're gonna come up, I'm gonna do it again. We're gonna come up, run our finger, our middle finger along the side of the holster, come down, grab the gun, pull out, come to hand clap, make that kind of chop motion with our support hand, present out, building the grip. I'm going to prep the trigger and ready, bang. Now I'm going to kind of start speeding that up. There we go. All right, now we're gonna get in the scoop draw. I'm going to bring in a friend because I don't do the scoop draw, and he does it incredibly well in high-level competition. My friend Brady Harden, he's amazing at the scoop draw in high-level competition, especially in single stacks. So, Brady, why don't you show us how you do your scoop draw?
It'd be my pleasure. So there's a few different ways that people will typically do scoop draws, and depending on start position, you might position your hands a little bit higher on the holster, but it's very similar to how you would do a snatch draw, in that typically you're going to index your middle finger up the back of the holster, and you're going to come to your gun, and you're still going to roll your thumb around the back of the beaver tail, and then typically about right here is where you're going to want to start building your grip at, and want to really have it built by the time you sort of get to the center of your chest and present out. So whenever that starts coming all together, you see something more like one fluid motion there, rather than a traditional draw where you're up, down, up, out. So now we'll do it a little bit faster each time. So and that's one thing you have to be careful about too. You notice I missed my grip a little bit there. With a lighter gun especially, it's very easy to bobble the gun a little bit, and that's why scoop draws can be a little bit of a hat trick. But if you really just nail it down there, you typically get something around 7/10, 6/10 of a second.
All right. So that's the scoop draw, and I showed you what a snatch draw looks like. They're both very fast. It's just personal preference for you. I like having a very good grip off of the draw because when I do the rest of my stage, like reloads, my strong hand never moves when I do my reloads. So I want to make sure I have that perfect grip right off the start. That's why I just decided I don't really want to do a scoop draw. Again, it's personal preference. Let's talk about holster angle because this does matter when you're drawing, especially at high levels of speed. So when it comes to the scoop draw, angle is very important. When you're doing the snatch draw, it doesn't matter as much because you're coming down and you're grabbing the gun and then coming out. So no matter where it's angled or whatever, you're able to really take that time and get that good grip. What about the angle for the scoop draw?
The angle for the scoop draw, depending on the holster type, and typically if I'm still running a normal style Kydex holster, I will typically still have it straight. But for something more like a race holster that just clips onto the trigger guard, I kind of like to do an angle a little bit, just because if you do really snatch one out of there and get it off just a little bit, that angle can help tuck the weight of the gun back into your hand.
Yeah. And as you notice, for both of our current holster setups, we don't have them super high or super low. They're kind of in this middle area, and one is for regulation in our sport, and the other reason is because this is where our hands naturally come up and we're not pulling the gun all the way into like our armpits. So this is where it sits very nice and naturally for us. When we're shooting and working at these high levels of speed, the more natural we can make our gear and our shooting period, the faster we're going to be because we're not having to think about it and force something. When we talked about snatch or scoop draw, we talked about doing it from this relaxed hands at side position. So that is one of the biggest typical start positions in competition that we're seeing. The other one is wrists above shoulders. So hand position for wrists above shoulders super matters because you're coming down onto the gun, down into your workspace area. So we got to think about how we want to position our hands and our arms to make it quick, but also to get that perfect grip, perfect draw. So for me, I like to make it as simple as possible. So my support hand is going to come up just slightly to the side. It's almost making this perfectly straight angle here because when I come exactly down, it's natural, and I come down into my work area to meet my gun. My strong hand, I want to kind of think about rotating almost perfectly from my elbow. If my hand's sitting on my gun, I'm going to rotate my elbow and my arm up like that. So when I come down, it's exactly on my gun. It's just that rotation. I like simplifying. That seems real simple to me. So this is my surrender start position here. And I come down onto my gun. So I'm doing the snatch from here. Okay, so I come down, push down, come out, present, bang. Okay. So compared to hands at sides, where you're coming up, down, up, out, this one you're just coming down and up and out. So why don't you, Brady, show us what it looks like with your hand positions from surrender start with the scoop draw.
So from surrender start with a scoop draw, you don't really get to do a scoop draw a whole lot because you're not coming from underneath, you're having to come over top. So it kind of becomes a snatch draw sort of sense. So for me, I typically like to index my thumbs on my ears. So normally, and I found for me that it's basically a straight down motion at that point. I can just literally throw my hands to the gun and snatch it right back out, almost like doing a scoop draw. So what that looks like is just straight down and straight out.
So both ways are very fast. We see both ways in competition quite a bit. That is the most typical ways you're going to find you're going to be drawing. Now I brought in Steve and we're all going to race our draws now. So I have my handy dandy edge timer here. Let's turn it on. It's going to be on delay and we're going to race our draws. So we have our hammers cocked back, guns are empty. We're going to draw and whoever lets their hammer down first, pulls the trigger, click. Dry fires first, that's going to be the winner. We're going to do this quite a few times. And we're going to start this time, we're going to start from wrist below belt, hands relaxed at sides. And then we'll get into surrender starts. Okay, are you ready? Stand by. Oh, dang.
Watch this.
All right. Are you ready? Stand by.
See, that's what happens. That's why scoop draws are not always reliable.
Right?
Are you ready? Stand by. Let's do it one more time. Are you ready? Stand by.
I think I heard us go down the line.
All right, let's get into surrender, guys.
Okay. I have so far to travel with my arms.
Are you ready? Stand by. Are you ready? Are you ready?
Yes.
Stand by.
Stop it. Shake it out. Shake it out. Come on.
Are you ready?
Yep.
Stand by.
I didn't grab it. No.
I was going to say I had about 3/4 of the grip in my hand.
Well, I grabbed some oil off the back of it.
All right, last one. Let's make it good, guys.
Alright.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Stand by. Yeah. All right, so that was draws. Thank you so much for watching. Again, gear matters, and we're all running double alpha belts. So get yourself a timer, get yourself a really good dry fire routine, work slowly, and get that perfectly, and then build up speed to you're just racing your heart out.
Hot.